You are looking at photos of the Dead Sea Scrolls. The discovery of the Dead Sea Scrolls is one of the most important finds we have ever come across in our quest to understand the roots of monotheism, specifically Islam, Christianity, and ancient Judaism. Before the Dead Sea Scrolls, the Nash Papyrus was the oldest known witness to the Old Testament, dating either 1st or 2nd century AD, and that is debatable. But in 1947, a shepherd boy wandered into these caves that I'm showing you right here and came across some large jars with scrolls in them. According to the carbon dating and the textual analysis, the documents are dated between 2nd century BC and 1st century AD. 900 documents were found altogether among 11 separate caves, providing many copies of many of the books of the Old Testament. For example, 39 copies of Psalms alone was found among these 11 caves. There are also many important finds. In 1928, we also found 350 cuneiform tablets in the remains of a city known as Ugarit, shown here. This city originated around the same time as the Babylonian culture, dating around 2200 BC. This is where we found the Canaanite tablets describing gods such as Baal. The tablets were dictated by the chief priest of Ugarit to the scribe around 1360 BC. The city was destroyed around 1200 BC by the Sea peoples in nearly the same time that the Israelites emerged into history. Well, why is this important, you may ask? In the Canaanite tablets we learned a great deal. We found a pantheon of gods called the Elohim, or the Divine Council, or the Sons of El. In this 11 pantheon of gods, there was the Most High called Elyon, or El. El's sons made up the Elohim. You may recognize some of these gods, most importantly Yahweh. Yes, Yahweh. You notice that Yahweh is in fact below El, the Most High. El gave Yahweh the duty to create the world. I guess he was too lazy. You may ask yourself, why does this matter? Oh, it gets better. After we examined the Dead Sea Scrolls, guess what we found? We found that the Dead Sea Scrolls mention El and Elohim. Let's look at a few verses just in Psalms, and let's compare them to the Dead Sea Scrolls. In Psalm 82:1, the Dead Sea Scrolls say, El has taken his place in his assembly. In the midst of the Elohim, he holds judgment. Now, if you pick up your NIV, it is translated as follows. God presides in the great assembly. He gives judgment among the gods. But let's look at the NASB, the New American Standard Bible. Psalm 82:1. God takes his stand in his own congregation. He judges in the midst of the rulers. Now that's just flat out lying. That's just flat out dishonest. Let's take a look at Psalm 29:1 in the Dead Sea Scrolls. Ascribe to Yahweh, O sons of El. Ascribe to Yahweh glory and strength. Now let's check out the NIV version. Ascribe to the Lord, O mighty ones. Ascribe to the Lord glory and strength. Now that's just wrong. Ascribe to the Lord, O sons of the mighty. Ascribe to the Lord glory and strength. Now that's the NASB version. Let's check out one more. Psalm 89:6. For who in the skies can be compared to Yahweh? Who amongst the sons of El is like Yahweh? Let's check out the NIV version. For who in the skies above can compare with the Lord? Who is like the Lord among the heavenly beings? Let's check out NASB. For who in the skies is comparable to the Lord? Who among the sons of the mighty is like the Lord? So you're not convinced? Let's look at a few more examples. Let's look at Genesis 1:26. In the Dead Sea Scrolls it reads, And God, Elohim, said, Let us make man in our image, after our likeness, and let them have dominion over the fish of the sea, and over the fowl of the air, and over the cattle, and over all the earth, and over every creeping thing, that creepeth upon earth. Well, let's look at Genesis 3:22. And God, Elohim, said, Behold, the man is become one of us, to know good and evil. He must not be allowed to reach out his hand and take also from the tree of life and eat and live forever. Now we can even cross-reference the Ugaritic tablets. In KTU 4:14, it says, My son, by the name of Yahweh, O goddess, Elat, and but Yahweh shall be his name. Here's another cross-reference. The commandment in Exodus, also found in Deuteronomy, that says, Thou shalt not boil a kid in its mother's milk, has often pondered scholars for centuries. Many scholars have tried to explain this commandment and its origins. We found in the Ugaritic text it says, over the fire 7 times the sacrifices cook a kid, and these cross-references are all over the place. Besides the chief god at Ugaritic, there were also lesser gods, demons, and goddesses. The most important of these lesser gods was Baal, familiar to all readers of the Bible, of course, and Asherah, also familiar to the readers of the Bible. Yam, the god of the sea, and Mot, the god of death. What is of great interest here is that Yam is the Hebrew word for sea, and Mot is the Hebrew word for death. This is most likely so because the Hebrews also adopted these Phoenician ideas as well. Take a look at this table. Here I have 6 major Middle Eastern societies and their structures and their gods. Just notice how they all share common gods and structures. They all use the same symbols. Many of them use the same symbols to associate with death, the sun, the moon, or even the sea. Over time, the roles of the various players seem to have changed. Eventually, Yahweh became, to the Israelites at least, interchangeably with El. Asherah, previously El's consort or wife, becomes associated with Yahweh, as 2 inscriptions from around 850 to 750 BC relate. You may be asking yourself, what does all this mean? Well, we can take 3 things from this. First, ancient Judaism evolved from a pantheon of gods. It was not monotheism. 2. Ancient Judaism is the foundation for Christianity, Islam, and Judaism. 3. If the roots of the tree, meaning ancient Judaism, are false, then anything thereafter is false as well.